Awesome. Welcome to Contractors Mastermind 2020. We have Tim out of Colorado Springs on the line. How are you doing, Tim?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. So real quick to dive into it. I know we only got a little bit of time, but just first question. Introduce yourself, your business, who you are, what you specialize in, and where you're based out of.
Oh, Tim O'Leary. Name of the company's O'Leary and Sons, Inc. Family business. We started back in 1988 with my dad, Mike, and my brother and I, John and I. My dad's passed about 8 years ago, which he retired before then, thankfully. But John and I continue to run it. So it's our 31st year this year.
Wow.
We kind of, we're out of Colorado Springs. Our main thing we do right now is deck construction. So, excuse me, we have new deck crews, we have repair crews, and we have refinish crews. So all of our guys, they all do the same thing, every single day, which is the key, I think, to part of our success. But, we started out in business years ago, just pressure washing houses and decks and so forth out of Michigan. And then it kind of evolved into repairing decks, and then evolved here in the last, really since I've been in Colorado about 7-8 years ago, we've, went from our first deck to probably one of the largest deck construction companies in Colorado, I would imagine. So, but it came with a lot of business experience from, a lot of years, but
right.
We're mainly just deck business.
Huh. So
I'm sorry. Oh, will you shut it off, please? I was going to go to the store. Sorry about that.
No problem.
My truck is running out in the parking
lot. Hey, man. I caught you. Cool.
That's pretty much it. So my brother and I own the company right now. We run it. I run the office. John runs all the crews. And then that was Linda. She's our office manager. And we have another guy that basically runs around getting lumber material, picking stuff up, just kind of a runner guy. And then we have all our crews, of course.
I actually looked y'all up on before we hopped on the call. It looks like I'm guessing you run everything with the marketing and stuff inside too. Y'all done a great job with that. That's awesome. You popped up like number 3 on Google. I was like, boom. Yeah, that's probably a lot too, man.
Yeah, it's huge. A lot of companies don't realize, but I see a lot of younger companies that are always asking, because I don't spend a dime for marketing. Actually I do. I spend $600 a month for an SEO company, but it's a tough nut to swallow, because people are doing something for you that costs you quite a bit of money, especially when you're small, that you don't understand because you don't see physically what they're doing. But if any company is going to survive, any company, I don't care who you are, you need 3 major things. And one is to show up on Google. I used to pay $5,000 a month for all the flyers that you'd see sent out, and I wouldn't get anywhere from it. It would cost me 50, 60 grand a year. So Google is very important. So hiring a good SEO company, you have to bite the bullet because it takes about a year. But you get a good SEO company, and she's going to provide you, with showing top, ranking. I mean, every customer almost I go to at almost 40 a week tells me, wow, I seen all your reviews online. I have, 100 Google reviews, or BBB is huge. I have Home Advisor. I don't use them anymore, but so 3 things: a great website, showing up on Google, and reviews. It's just everybody and everything that probably even you look at, Gene. I Google everything. I look at all the reviews. So you accomplish them 3 things, and I think that's what we're running on 8 cylinders. We're experts at that, man. I mean, you look us up. Every person, I go by a deck, and if somebody's building a deck or repairing one in this town, they're probably calling me because they see my website, they see reviews, and they notice it. They tell me every day that, man, you guys have great reviews and a nice website. But they got to find you. That's where Google comes in, and the SEO company.
it's interesting too, because there's different quotes or saying whatever you want to philosophies around just like the buyer's journey today, on how much like it's sold before it's even like the conversation's even started, because there's so much pre-work that goes in behind it that you can research anything, you know, and find out. A lot of it is just seeing if what the reviews say aligns with the people you have on the phone and the construction guys you have coming out to the jobs.
Yep.
It's a different world we're in today, you know?
It is. It is. You know, and I say this back when I was in Michigan years ago, you know, I never was with the BBB.
Oh, hey.
You know, that you do these things and you know, it pays. I can't even tell you how many, you know, you belong to the BBB, it's $400 or $500 a year, but you know, people really believe in that. You know, they trust it. You can't put fake reviews like Google. Right. Every bad review I have on Google's from you know, an employee of mine that's mad at me because we got rid of them for some reason. But yeah, it's them three things. Like I said, reviews are so huge because everybody looks at them. A good website, and then you got to be seen, and that is the key to success. The first key.
Yeah. What were some of the toughest challenges and hurdles you had to overcome through your journey from beginning to where you're at today, over the past, you said 31 years?
Yeah, 31. Well, it's something I learned a long time ago that, and a lot of people are forced to do it, don't get me wrong, but knowing your niche. You know, I belong to that Facebook thing, I think, is where I met you on from responding to somebody. But you clearly see on there, Gene, you know, you got these guys going out building these $150,000, you know, when you're young, and I've been there, done that, but you know, you try to impress every customer and grow your business by your amount of like extreme detail. You know, what's the most you can, you know, do to a deck, and that's great. And if that's your niche, you need to stick to it, you know, high-end decks. If, you know, you always have to have your niche. And what I found out, like, you know, we used to do, you know, a lot of different things. We would do basically any exterior and some interior construction, and we just do decks. And fortunately, we have enough work to do that. But by finding your niche, you find yourself will gain a lot more work. Because if you look at our website, what's really weird is we don't get calls from these people. And believe me, we do work for a lot of very wealthy customers. But people will look at your website and determine what kind of work you do. In our case, our niche is, don't get me wrong, they're not cheap decks. You know, we do 2,000 square foot decks to 200. You can just say but the thing is we are building a deck that's on the back of like everybody's house in this town, most of them. And that's, you know, a treated frame composite deck, metal rail, stairs, whatever. But we're not a general contractor. We're not tying into your roof. We're not building barbecue grills. We're not, you know, doing stucco and stone. Don't get me wrong. If they want them, I'll refer somebody to them. But they're not part of our schedule. We don't let somebody else be in control of our schedule. So we build the deck. If they want to call the guy, recommend to do stucco, stone, or anything else, they're welcome to, or landscape, concrete. We can refer to all that. But everybody that works for us are our employees. They're uniformed. You know, they go out every day. They're there at 8. They take a lunch. They clean up at the same time every day, Monday through Friday. So, you know, we have the niche to do these type decks of what most people want, the normal decks. And by finding that niche, we don't get a lot of calls for these, you know, $150,000, you know, glass enclosed, you know, all them big crazy decks, which right. Beautiful. It's just we choose not to do that. We're the guys that build the regular decks, but we're in and out. You know, week and a half for a 400 square foot deck. Our crews do this. We construct the deck the exact same way on every deck. That way, our guys, there's never a question when you go out. We're like, why the hell did you do that? You know, oh, I thought it would look better. Well, that doesn't happen here. You know, they're trained from the beginning exactly how we do it. from piers, posts, framing, decking, railing, stairs. It's all done the same way.
Right.
And that's important. You know, you see these guys around town that do decks and concrete and roofing and landscaping and basements. I wouldn't have that business if it made me a $10 million. So that's our key.
I hear you.
And,
I hear you. Singleness and focus.
and another thing is like I told you about my brother, you know, we have a very systematic way here. All I do is estimating, dealing with customers and run the business end of it. But, you know, John goes out every day, job to job, job. And, you know, he does all the drawings and ordering and the materials and dealing with all the suppliers. But, you know, we don't step on each other's toes. You know, he does his part, I do my part. And Linda out here, she deals with all the customers. And, you know, it's just a well-oiled machine, you know, everything. And what we don't do also is expand, you know, beyond what's fun. You know, we don't want 40 employees. We could definitely hire about 20, 30 more right now. But you know what? We want to run a fun business, but it takes, you know, every week to look at any mistakes you made. And that's one thing we're really good at. Like, how can we make it better? Talk to your employees. What can we do to make this job better for you? Is it a tool, a truck, or a ladder, or a piece of equipment, or anything? So, you know, you just got to stay up on the basics. And that's kind of what we do.
Yeah, man. So what's been some of the toughest parts of owning a business in 2020? What's been some of the toughest parts about COVID-19? What has that been looking like for you guys, your business? You know, you were telling me that things are continuing to pick up, which is a great problem to have, but are you noticing anything else going on?
Not really. I mean, we're always booked out about 12 weeks, so a few months. We have been seeing some people when we called, they're like, why are you calling us? This was really a couple months ago when it started, but we've had a slowdown like in our springtime or prior to spring when it usually we get hammered with calls because people know everybody gets busy in the spring. But, you know, we've had a few cancellations of people that just don't know what their job is going to, you know, if they're going to go back to a job or not. But it seems like after the delay we've had at the beginning of the COVID, now it's like 2 or 3 times the amount of people. Like, we're getting the people calling that didn't call then, and then the normal people that wait kind of too late and call in May. And, you know, we've had sometimes 30 calls before 10 o'clock in the morning, and we have 4 lines. And I come in afternoon, and Linda says, you know, I've had 4 lines lit up for 2 hours. So right now it's just insane. Yeah. And I think what's happening, Gene, you've had a lot of people at home to really take more time to sit out on their patios and decks. Number 2 is, you know, I think a lot of people just in their head are really realizing that we may not be traveling for the next year or more, you know, which I don't, you know, it's really put a damper on travel and vacation. So, you know, I don't know about you, Gene, but if I'm going to be spending more time at my house, not traveling as much, it's a good year to put some money into your house. So right, exactly. I think that's the other thing. So for us, it's done nothing but, you know, increase our business.
Well, it's interesting to hear that. I've talked to different contractors in different niches, and we have one guy that we work with. He's a fence and deck contractor himself, and he's had over 100 calls this past month.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You know what I mean? It's awesome, though. I mean, it's not a problem to have. So is
I'm at a point where my brother and I want to start slowing down a little bit. So yeah. It's like all these people have the time off. It's like, my gosh, we can't even collect our thoughts right now. But it's all good.
I'd rather be in that place than the other place.
No doubt.
So what has, obviously the internet's played a big role in how you get new business. Is that the only means, or is that the sole mean of what you've been doing is just Google?
Mainly internet. Well, I can't even say that. A lot of our work, you know, again, keep in mind, Gene, that Colorado Springs is a pretty small town, you know, 20 miles long and 15 miles wide and growing rapidly. But the very niche community, like a lot of places around the United States, but we just get a ton of referrals. And then we get just a lot of internet activity of you know, you'll see every day when I come in on my email that there will be inquiry at O'Leary and Sons. You know, people doing it online, and then a lot of people just calling in.
Right.
But you know, we get a lot of work from repeat customers. We get a lot from BBB.
Yeah.
You know, Better Business Bureau that people call in there and or do an online thing from BBB for deck contractor, and they'll tell me they got my name from there. So really a lot of, you know, a few different ways, but mainly internet.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's it's just it hurts me to see so many contractors not like at where you're at right now. You know,
Well,
you
it
understand
does
how much
yeah.
is there.
There, I'll tell you what, I think there's work everywhere because I talk to people, you know, all over the place. I talk to people in this town that do the same thing I do, and they're not, I mean, I see guys all the time. You know, there's quite a few deck builders, but they're not like we are. And again, I just want to go back to, you have to bite the bullet for a while to get to where you need to be.
Right.
You cannot survive in business off, you know, doing mailers, door hangers, the you know, the mailers especially. I mean, everybody thinks the same thing. You know, how do I get my name out there?
Right.
And there's number one place you need to get your name, and it's inevitable. Either that or you're gonna find yourself always looking for work and spending more money. You know, the average for marketing, from what I've heard in the past, is, you know, 10% of your gross or whatever. That's crazy. I mean, the numbers we gross, you know, I'd be spending hundreds of thousands, and I don't spend anything. So that's always a huge benefit. But like I said to begin with, finding a good SEO that you're going to sit with, that's going to take, you know, good care of you and become kind of like your business partner. Again, it's not expensive to just get started, but, you know, they're going to really work. But I'll tell you, it takes a year, and a lot of people don't have that patience. Or I can't tell you how many people say, oh, I tried it and I wasn't seeing nothing and I was paying $800 a month.
Yeah.
Well, nobody sees anything. I get 25 emails a week, I bet, from people wanting to do SEO, and they all claim number one on Google. It doesn't work that way. You got to keep getting in there and changing all, you know, you got to have the correct style website. And again, I'm not a computer guy like her, but, you know, you got to have a certain type of website. And then they got to go in there every week, and you got to upload videos and pictures and reviews. You know, Google's real simple. They want people, when they look up deck construction, you know, that's how their algorithms work. They want people to see the best ones. They want to see people, you know, participating in this. And to be honest, a lot of times, Gene, owner operators and guys on a smaller level, it takes time to do all that. You know, you're trying to run your business, do estimates. Yeah. And then you got to upload all the stuff and videos and, you know, information. So it takes a commitment, but when you get it, I'm telling you, it was like one day, it's just like a light switch went off, and we were getting just more work. And this is steady throughout all winter. You know, we never slow down under 2-3 months backed up with all our crews. So.
Well, it's so interesting because with SEO type work, you know, I'm very familiar with that stuff myself. But like, yeah, it's really having to bridge that gap. Like, look, like there's an onboarding period. Like most of our onboarding period with the clients we're working with is anywhere from 60 to 90 days really to start getting results. But for areas like Colorado Springs, you've got over 100 reviews yourself. You've been in business. How long have you had your website for? You know,
that's probably at least. Really, I've only had that about 6 years.
Yeah,
7 years.
Exactly. There's so many facets that go into it. And if you want to do it in a short amount of time, there's ways to do it, but it costs a little bit more too.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you said, you know, SEO, and that's the toughest thing for people to do is, man, that's a lot of money for a lot of people. It's a lot of money, period. You know, if you're spending $600 to $1,000 a month, but you don't see anything tangible. You don't see anything. And who knows if they're really working? I still think about it all the time. Yeah. You know, I don't hear from my SEO person for quite a while. But I wonder, man, because I'm really showing well online, is she still doing it for me? But you know what? You have to trust them. You know what I mean? If you don't trust them, you know, you just have to trust by the the facts that it's still working,
I'll
and
have
you're still.
I'll have to talk to you more after we I hit the record. I don't want to. This is your time to talk about your business and what you're doing. Give me more like 5 more minutes. We'll start wrapping it up.
Okay.
What's the, you mentioned something earlier, what is your kind of short-term benchmark goals for the next 6 month, year, 1 to 5 years? What's that kind of look like for you guys? You mentioned something about stepping away and slowing down, or you looking on hiring and kind of delegating it out and stepping away as business owners, or what is that looking like?
Good question. Well, we had a 5-year plan. Again, I'm 52, but I've been doing this for a long time, since I was a kid. But I really would like to minimally, step away to where, delegate somebody to do my job. But yeah, I'm really at a point right now, Gene. I don't know. Definitely in the next few years, I'm not going to be working nearly as much. John and I have a plan for that already, of getting somebody to, run the guys. One of our crew leaders that's getting a little up there in age, he's
Right.
going to run all the guys and do the drawings and plans. And I'm going to hire somebody else here in the next probably year to do estimating with me. But what we're going to do in the next 5, I told John, we really want to start going down right now, but with this economy, you really can't help but to say, there's always peaks and valleys. I've been through a lot of them. I'm not going to be around to go through, when this peak goes down to be back at the next one. So I told John, we need to really bust our butt. We solid numbers for the company. So you create a sellable business. That's another thing in business. It takes a lot of running, and we could touch on a lot of different things, but you got to be honest in business. Give yourself a paycheck, pay your taxes, do things by the book. My accountant told me many, many years ago, if you can't afford work comp, if you have guys on the job, then you're not charging enough. And, it goes with everything. Now we have a building and, that we bought and everything else, but, that comes with time and age and, experience and everything else. But, I just see so many guys that are, they're paying everybody 1099s or not, if a guy falls and breaks their neck. So, I'm all about run an honest business, run a profitable business. And if one day you do go to sell it, it's worth something. It's worth all the time and sweat you put into it. You pocket all the money and you have cash all the time. And, you go to sell your business down the road, it's not worth anything. So, that's another one of my things is, run an honest business, and somebody gets hurt, they're covered. And, if you break something, it's covered at a customer's house, whatever. But
Yeah.
I think in the next few years, Gene, we're going to hit it pretty hard. We just hired on another crew. So we're going to have 5 or 6 crews running.
Yeah.
And I think we're just going to hit it for a while because it's there. And it's just the tough part is getting employees right now in a busy economy. But, I think we're going to hit it pretty strong for another year or two to see where this thing pans out at. And then maybe put my business up for sale or try to find somebody to run it and come in. I'd love to come in 10 hours a week just when I wanted to and, just bug people and stuff. But I don't know. It just depends on what happens in the next couple of years.
Right. I mean, like if that's your goal, like why not? It sounds like it's possible. Last question. We'll kind of wrap up. Any thoughts, comments, rude remarks, anything you want to share to anybody who may be listening in the future?
Not really. I think we touched on the basics, but, I will tell you this, and, I've seen it out there before. I've had a lot of people over the years say, even guys that have quit saying, Tim, I'm going to go off on my own. And it takes a lot more than knowing how to build a deck to run a successful business. And there's a book I read a long time ago. It's called The E-Myth. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
You have?
I've heard of it. I've never read it.
I wish I'd have read that book 25, 30 years ago. It just makes so much sense. You can't just be good at building a deck. You got to know how to run a business, deal with taxes and accounting and marketing and everything else. And they even have some things that will help people, like advisors you pay extra money for. But, it really just sums up kind of what I was talking about. you know, you got to put everything in place. And, you know, fortunately with us, I have my brother that I trust 100% or 95%. And, but, you know, he does his job, I do my job, she does her job, and you do it well, just like our employees, Gene. You know, we don't have deck repair guys building new decks. We don't have a refinish crew repairing a deck. Stick to the basics, man. And, you know, the fewer things you can teach your employees to do and do great, the better they're going to be at it, the more guys you can hire.
Yeah.
And we love to hire from within. So you got a smart guy here doing the same thing every day within 6 months, you know, you could turn that guy into a crew leader. And, you know, he goes from making great money, company truck and insurance and all that stuff. So, you know, it's just, you got to keep it simple, but you got to be dedicated, man. You got to have short-term and long-term goals and stick to it.
That sounds awesome. Well, Tim, thanks for hopping on the show. I am about to end this recording. Thank you, man. That was awesome.
You're welcome. Thanks, Gene. I'm glad to talk to you and nice to meet you.
Yeah, same as well.